Hello, my name is Greta Staggs, and I'm here with Shireen Berger. Today we are going to discuss LHOOQ by Marcel Duchamp. Now, this painting is quite interesting, like its movement.
Definitely. This painting was created in 1919. During this period, there was an art movement going on called Dadaism. Dadaism was an art movement that was supposed to represent non-art.
This art was to offend people and go against all morals of art.
Exactly. Dadaism came about after the First World War, and it was supposed to raise questions such as who decides what is art and what isn't. This painting by Duchamp really does represent Dadaism.
At the time, and even today, the Mona Lisa was one of the most famous paintings in the world. This interpretation of the Mona Lisa goes against all rules of art.
And what you have to realize is that it's not even necessarily the actual art that shows a Dadaism, but it's the psychological aspect. Duchamp didn't even paint this Mona Lisa. It was a cheap replica he bought, and he used a pencil to draw on the mustache and goatee.
It was a quick ready-made, and the public was very shocked. One reviewer stated that Dada philosophy is the sickest, most paralyzing, and most destructive thing that has ever originated from the brain of man.
Dadaism was also very avant-garde and hard to understand for the public, and it was kind of the reaction that the Dadaists wanted. They wanted people to hate their art. And this isn't the only art from Duchamp that stirred such a reaction. He made several works during the Dada movement that had all gotten these disgusted reactions.
Not only that, Duchamp was the founding father of Dadaism, so this piece of art portrays exactly what Dadaism was about.
And what's also really interesting is Duchamp's philosophy, which was, can anyone make something that isn't art? His art isn't supposed to be pleasant to the eye, and it isn't pleasant to the eye, but his philosophy and the psychological aspect of his art makes it so interesting and different.
When I first saw this piece, I kind of laughed.
Yeah, me too.
It doesn't really look like he put much effort into the piece. So if anyone can make art out of something, how is this anti-art? Art at the time was supposed to be pleasing to the eye, but by making the Mona Lisa not so pleasing anymore, he made anti-art. The art was offending.
And what we can't forget is that the Mona Lisa was this ideal beauty, and he almost completely ruined that vision of the people. He makes a contradiction to his philosophy because he believed anyone could make something and it could be considered art, and yet Dadaism was a non-art movement. Still, I believe Duchamp's mission failed because his works of anti-art are considered art today and are unaffordable.
In some aspects, his mission did fail, but at the same time, it has changed our view of art today and created an art revolution. Thanks for listening.
The painting we are looking at now is called Marilyn Diptych. It's a painting made by Andy Warhol in 1962. I think this painting really shows the properties of pop art.
Yeah, I think that too. Do you also think it shows modern happenings?
Because Marilyn Monroe died in 1962, and a few weeks later, Andy Warhol created this painting. It is the same picture made 50 times of Marilyn Monroe's head. These pictures are all based on the same publicity photograph from the 1953 film Niagara.
Yeah, and that is one of the main properties of pop art, to show modern happenings. But also, the painting is cartoon-like, which is also a main property.
Yes, I agree, but it is not too much like a cartoon, so do you think it works? I mean, some pop art paintings are really cartoony. For example, Wham! Made by Roy Lichtenstein.
I actually do, because this painting is very cartoony, like almost all pop art paintings, for example, Wham! But I also think it has an interest in mass media, seeing it's Marilyn Monroe. She's a major movie part, and movie star, and also a sex idol.
Yeah, that's true, but there are some really rough colors on one side of the painting. Don't you think that this represents death?
Yeah, it does. The colors on the side of her head are really dark and rough. This emphasizes the already cartoony feeling and also that she's dead. I think the rough and black represents color too, don't you?
Represent death, you mean, right?
Yeah, they represent death.
Well, of course, because black is like it is dark, and maybe media thinks that when you are dead, you only see darkness. This is also referring back to the mass media part of the pop art.
But also in the media, black represents death because it's such a dark color, and it's also the way society sees it. Society sees it that black is a very dark color, and thus they don't think of it as a happy color, and death is not very happy.
Yeah, and one side of the painting, one part of the painting, is made in black and white, not like the other part which is made in color. And so also that also shows death because one half is black, and
Yeah, well, I think that covers it. So, thanks for watching.
Hello, I'm Stein,
Hi, I'm Manny.
Hi, I'm Olivia.
and today we're going to talk about two paintings, Nude Descending a Staircase and Les Diamoles de Afrigon. I'm going to start off with Nude Descending a Staircase. It was made in 1912 by Marcel Duchamp. The painting style used was futurism.
It looks like a walking tree, but it's supposed to be a woman walking down the stairs.
And in my opinion, it doesn't really look like a one walking down the stair. With all those cubes, it's a bit different. Like it's not really shown pretty well, even though if all the cubes and lines show the movements of how she's walking down the stairs. So it looks like an armchair where you put the clothes in my opinion.
My opinion is I kind of like it because it looks like something it actually isn't. Yeah, it looks like a walking tree to me too. But when I did some research, it actually is a woman walking down the stairs.
And now we're going to talk about the other picture. It's called
Yes.
Demoiselles d'Avignon.
Yeah,
It was made in the 19...
7 by Pablo Picasso. He used the painting style of Cubism. My opinion is not because of naked girls, but because the girls don't look really realistic.
I think that it looks like they're having a sleepover or something, but it's really messy.
So in my opinion, I don't really like the picture because it's kind of strange and the girls does not really look realistic as it's in reality. Because for example, the bottom girl at the right, it seems like she only has one leg, and in the face, it looks like a big carrot or something.
So that was our. Now we're gonna compare them. I like the staircase more because it is like something totally different than it actually looks. Yeah.
I also like the staircase one more because it shows movement, so you can really compare it to something realistic. For example, just a woman walking down the stairs, so you can kind of see it in there, but at the same time it creates something new.
I like too the woman descending down the stairs, because it's more realistic than the other picture. Because the other picture does not really show how things in reality. Instead, this shows like the movement of the girls descending down the stairs, and that's my opinion.
So thank you for listening.